Hi, Dr. Izzy Justice here, Chief Neuroscientist at Neuro 580. I want to again start off by thanking the CDC here in Atlanta for these videos where we get to talk about the role of neuroscience in the human experience. Today I want to talk to you about workplace skills. And the specific skills that I want to talk to you about are problem solving, innovation, collaboration. All these functions that we use all the time in the working environment to perform whatever job or task that you have at hand are all centered in the human brain. These are things that the brain orchestrates. So the role of the brain and understanding why in certain situations or circumstances or with certain people we perform at a higher level, we collaborate better, we think better, we solve problems better, we come with better ideas, and why in other situations we do not. I also want to remind you that these same skills that we think we need in the workplace, collaboration, innovation, coming up with new ideas, solving a problem, are skills that we use outside the work environment. If you're at home, you're married, you have to collaborate with your spouse. You have to solve a problem. You have to come up with new ideas of what you want to do. So these are transferable skill sets because it's the same brain that is housing all of these skill sets. So let's start with understanding what the problem is a little bit better. In this slide over here, you'll note that there are many, many studies over here. Half the CEOs now believe that lack of creativity and innovation is hindering their organization's ability to grow. So these two competencies that we just talked about, a McKinsey study here is showing that almost 80% of the time, the actual time that people are spending in the working environment is operational, leaving only about 20% of the time to do something creative or innovative. And that's just time. But just think amount of additional time it might take, even within that time period, to get your brain to a state where you can think clearly and be creative and being innovative. So I would argue that the amount of time, actual linear time that we have to be innovative and creative and solve problems effectively is actually quite less. In the UK alone, Deloitte study from just a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, showed that our mind wandering, what I talked about in that first video, is costing them almost $4 billion a year in lost productivity. Just because we're so operationally focused, we aren't thinking our best, we aren't solving the problems in the most optimal manner. So let's go over here and talk about a language and a set of tools that you can use. How do you know where your brain is when you're starting to write an email, when you're starting to talk to a group of people to solve a problem, when you're thinking at your desk by yourself trying to, come up with a new idea for a project? Well, the thoughts that you're having in your brain is a very good clue as to the frequency of those thoughts. So let's just go through this chart over here. If you have a thought doing anything, collaborating, innovating, problem solving, and you're like, ooh, I love this, this is exciting, that's a clue that your brain is operating in the green, somewhere in that magical 10, 15 hertz range. What does that mean? That means the frequency is low. That means your sensory cortex is very activated. There isn't a lot of traffic or competition between what you see, what you hear. Maybe someone else said something and you caught it very quickly, and that happened over there. But in addition, your access to what? To your own library. Library of what? Well, things you've done in the past, ideas you've had, an article that you read, a video that you saw, something that a mentor or a coach said to you once. All of that amazing inventory, all those ingredients, they're already there. It's not that we don't have the ability, the innate ability to collaborate and problem solve and be creative. We have that ability. It's not a skill issue. It's an access issue. So when I'm green, I can access all of that, and my senses are awake, and I'm seeing, hearing, feeling everything that's happening around me, and I feel, ooh, I'm in that zone, I'm in that flow state, amazing things are going on. If you're having thoughts that say, ooh, I can do this, I love this, that's a clue. Let's go all the way at the end at about 100, 80, 90, 100 hertz. If the thoughts in your head are, I better keep my mouth shut, this is terrible, I don't like this, that should be a clue to you, ooh, I'm probably down to about 5% of that access to what I already know how to do. And I'm limiting my sensory input. But what about in between? What if you have a thought that says, I'm pretty confident and I'm glad that we're doing this. It's not as exciting as, oh, I love this, but it's a low-key one. Well, you can see that the percentage of your ability to, again, access that inventory begins to go down. Let's go higher up. I don't understand this. That's a thought in your head. I'm confused by this, right? There's another clue. I'm operating in the yellow now. So a big part of leveraging the skills that you use all day long at home and at work, collaborating, working with somebody else, coming up with a new idea, innovation, solving a problem, could be as simple as replying to an email. A big part of that is to manage the constantly changing brain temperature that you have. Remember what I said earlier. The only change that you have in a given day is the state of your brain. Your age, your height, your weight, your core values, your knowledge, your skills, that's not changing. That's the same. Your access to them changes. So if you become very good at recognizing where your brain is, then you can make the right adjustments. So let's go over here now, and I'll talk to you about some specific solutions. If you know that there's a time in your schedule where you have to brainstorm, where you have to solve a problem, you have to be creative, why not think like an athlete? Why not in the 5, 10, 15 minutes before that event, you warm up, but in this case, you warm up mentally. How do you warm up mentally? Well, look around you. Look at a table, look at a chair, look at a watch, look at the shoes. Think of what went into the mind of the person that created that. Why did they design it a certain way? How about your own past memories? What was the last best project that you did, or the last best idea that you had? Or what do you see out there in the world that you really love? And think of what it took that person or those people to invent that. So warming up by asking yourself, what are some of the best ideas? How did they come up with them? How can I do that? Is a big part of getting your brain ready, wherever it is, towards that yellow and ultimately towards that green state. Now, once the session has started, once you start to write the email, once you start to communicate with somebody else, once you start to ideate, at that point, you've got to constantly monitor where your thoughts are. The second that your thoughts begin to go high on that scale, on that negativity scale, if you would, you should know that you're inherently diluting your value. That self-awareness of yourself should alert you, oh, let me do a neurohack. Let me tell my brain I'm not in real danger. A real danger is a lion coming to eat me. This is a different type of a danger. So if you just neurohack yourself by recognizing where your brain temperature is, you can bring that brain temperature down. I always say safety first. What does safety first mean? Monitor the emotional temperature of everybody else in that room. What are they saying? Where is their brain temperature? Are they green, yellow, or red? I will tell you, if you're green and they are green, magic will happen. Think of all the inventory that all of you are going to access in all of your brains, this vast hard drive that we have in our brains. If you're green and any one person is red, you've severely compromised that. Their nonverbals are speaking very loudly, and even their verbals. In the same way that I want you to monitor your thoughts, you can monitor their thoughts. What are they saying? Are they complaining about something? Or are they saying, ooh, I have another idea. I have another. We should talk to that person. We should research that. Oh, now you know that you're in green. But I would encourage you, the minute that you see the environment or people around you getting towards yellow and green, you've got to stop. The progressive value of that time spent is diminishing. Get them to green, neurohack them. So spike down all of the negatives. Don't hesitate to make breaks a big part of your brainstorming session or your problem solving session. Use those breaks to get yourself back towards green. One of the easiest things to do in the middle of a design session, a problem solving session, is what I call the power of thank you. Find something that someone is saying or doing that you can say thank you to. Now, why is that powerful? Why is that a neurohack? Because in your effort to search for a moment to say thank you to somebody, your brain is being present. It is suspending all of the judgment and the consequences and the normal kinds of things that go with that. You are disarming the situation, which basically means you're bringing the temperature down towards low yellow and high green. So, just to wrap up, the skills that we use in the work environment and in our home are the same. The instrument, the tool that we're using is the same. Problem solving, innovation, and collaboration. If you simply monitor where your thoughts are, it's a very good clue to what you need to do. In those moments, if you say, ooh, I'm yellow, I'm red, how can I get back to green very quickly in the moment? You'll find yourself going down towards green, and suddenly you have access to what you already know how to do. Please remember, innovation, collaboration, and problem solving are skills we already have. We are human beings. We're the most sophisticated creatures on planet Earth. We have these skills. We just need access to them. Get to green, and you will access them. Thank you.